I was talking about, we're going to be working on pitcher shapes. Basically, you're going to want to try to make a shape that goes with your mugs. This is a generic pitcher shape at this point. The wall at the top is going to have to be left a little thicker for pulling out the actual spout. The spout you're going to actually isolate, you're going to thin it out and actually make it so it channels the water, so when you pour, it actually goes out the end of the spout. I'm going to be showing you this style for what I'm throwing. If you have troubles, if you accidentally do it and it doesn't work out, you can add clay onto it and do this style where you're adding clay on to make it even longer. This is a little harder to do. That is going to be the more basic shape on it, not adding clay and then trying to actually pinch it out. So I'm going to be demonstrating that style, but if you have questions about this, I can tell you how to be able to do this. All right. Like I said, this is porcelain clay. If you guys really want to use this, you can. It's just harder to actually get centered, to actually use, and to get it to stand up.
Are you using porcelain? Mr. Russell, are we using that or no?
I just said it's optional. Please listen to what I'm saying when I'm talking, okay? All right. First, I'm just getting this centered. So the porcelain clay, this is just a little bit whiter type of clay. It's just a little bit harder to control. Please stop throwing things. I can hear it getting.
Is the difference just for aesthetic purposes?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you draw on white paper versus if you draw on brown paper. So it's just a little harder to control, but the glazes in the end do look better on it. All right, so now that I have this fairly centered, I'm going to clean up the bottom here a little bit. Okay, first we just need to put the clay into a cylinder, but like I was talking about, we need to leave the top edge or the rim lip a little thicker than normal, so we actually have part of it to be able to pull out the form into the pitcher shape. So what should the thickness of this bottom be? Pencil or 3/8 of an inch thick, like what we've been doing for everything in here. And make sure your bottoms are the right thickness by stopping and checking with the needle tool, like I've been having you guys do for everything in here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doing that again to show that I'm making sure that it is the right thickness. All right, so now I need to pull this up into a cylinder. The porcelain for smaller objects is a little different to throw with. It's not drastically different. When you throw larger objects though, the taller the object is, the harder it is to work with. So the very top edge, like I said, I'm going to not thin it out as much as normal. I'm going to leave it a little bit thicker, about like that. It'll also make it better so later on when the person uses this, it'll have less of a tendency to want to chip on the edge. With the pitcher being larger versus like a coffee mug, like what we were working on, it's going to take a little bit more abuse because it is going to be a little bigger form. Okay, so I'm making this a little bit more of a winter style. I know we were making summer style and winter style mugs that were either open or less open. You have a toolkit. The metal rib really does come in handy though for being able to clean up forms and be able to finish shapes. At this point, I just need to trim the bottom in and I'll clean up the top a little bit, and then I'm going to show you guys how to create the pouring spout. You guys are going to want to make a pitcher that's about 8 inches tall. It doesn't have to be huge if you've been in here more than one class. If this is your first class, I'll let you make it closer to the size of this, being 6 inches tall. I think a lot of you guys are still challenged for your height. On the next project though that we're going to do past the pitcher, we're going to make a piece that's 12 inches tall, so you're going to have to put two pieces together, but we'll talk about that in the future for stacked forms. I'm just mentioning it briefly now that we will be working bigger than this. Okay. Straighten this up. Don't leave water inside of your pieces, it'll eat through it. If you let it sit, it will start to eat through it. Okay. In order to make the spout, we're going to take a section that's going to be about 2.5 to 3 inches in length, and it's going to vary by how big your fingers are. We're going to take a spot in this section where I want to start by pinching 5 spots right next to each other. Then I'm going to pinch in between each one to start to pinch it out. So I'll do it so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I want to do it right here in front of me. I want to start right here and I'm going to pinch 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots, 4 spots, 5 spots. It starts like that. Now I want to go for the bumps in between and pinch them out. So I'm trying to make this fairly even and consistent where I pinched out each part of that. So now I need to take my finger and thumb, kind of like what we did when we were pulling out a handle, and I'm going to start down about 1.5 inches, and I'm going to lightly pull up, try not to pinch all the way through, but to start to thin this out and start to pull it up. Anywhere where it's a little thicker, I'm going to go back and work in and keep pulling up to start to make actual spout area. And I'm going to work down a little deeper, doing the same thing, trying to get it even, consistent. And I'm going to focus on this top edge to make sure it's nice and consistent. Got one more weird spot right there, trying to get it even. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that at this point. I'm going to turn around so you can see what I have so far. So I have a flattened out area. Perez, put the clay down. I'm going to take the sponge, I'm going to smooth up the edges before I bend it. So now I need to actually make the channel for where the water is going to pour out. I'm going to take my finger and my thumb on my left hand, Perez. Pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to start down below where I want the spout to be. I'm going to touch pitcher shape. I want to take my hand on the inside of my right hand and I want to pull this forward. And I want to work this up and create a channel on where this is going to want to pour out. So now I'm going to take my sponge. I'm going to work down through the middle here and curl this out just a little bit more, trying to make sure that I'm making this even. The last thing I'm going to do is take my finger and thumb again, and I'm going to push this back just a little bit more to make a little bit more of a throat to make a pouring edge. So it's up, elevated a little bit higher than the other side. It actually has the channel. It's going to actually make the fluid when I go to pour it to actually go off so that I can actually control it. Okay? So you guys have one of these to do. 6 inches tall if this is the first class for you. If you've taken Art 1, you're going to have to make it 8 inches tall. It has to have a handle put onto it. I'm going to be collecting these November 20th. Okay? So you're going to have basically 3 days this week and 5 days next week, and that's it. Good job.